The new trailer for the F1 2021 Breaking Point story mode has been released, so we're going to go check that one out real quick. Before we jump into it, guys, if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe for all the latest breaking news regarding F1 2021, and also down below in the description, guys, I'll leave the links to the 3 videos that I managed to make on the preview build of the game over the last week, so if you haven't done so already, check those out. But let's jump into this trailer breakdown. Now in this video we're going to literally talk about the trailer because all it's showcasing is the features of this year's game in full, so pretty much showing off everything this year's game has in store. So I'm not going to show the trailer because of copyright music, just in case. So to kind of avoid that, we're literally just going to break it all down because there's enough stuff here to get a full video out of this. Trust me when I say that, there's so much in this. So let's jump into it and let's kind of recap, break it all down, go through the stuff that I know from my personal, exclusive time with Codemasters and what I know from the game, and also my experience with the preview build. So let's jump into it. Now the first thing they mention is a thrilling new story, and of course this is essentially Breaking Point. So there's some really nice cutscenes here with the on and off track drama and all the new things you're going to see. A lot of the kind of gameplay aspects of it, I can't tell if this is what we're going to get at launch or not, because it looks so realistic and so sharp, and the game definitely didn't look this way in the preview build that we had. So maybe there's a graphics update on the way, who knows. But in general, to kind of run you through the Breaking Point storyline, it's going to last 3 seasons, so essentially Formula 2 in 2019, F1 2020 and F1 2021. So automatically in this year's game you're going to have not just the 2021 F1 cars, you're also going to have the 2020 F1 cars from last year's game. So as you can see with the images on screen of the Racing Point, the Alpha Tauri, and so on and so forth, so those cars are still going to be present in the game. And yeah, basically it's a 3-season story, and you're going to be seeing Devon Butler in there, of course, and also a bunch of other new characters. And in general, Breaking Point is going to be very big. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it at launch, to be honest with you. I think I might focus on my team, so let me know in the comments down below if you want me to do Breaking Point. But I think at launch I'm going to be focused on my team content. We then talk about the 2-player career, aka co-op, of course, which is returning this year, and one very key feature this year, as you can see on screen, co-op or versus. What that means, and it has been addressed before, I believe I've done a video about this, but basically there's 2 types of co-op this season. So you can do a regular co-op where you and a friend team up in the exact same team and try to win the championship. You do all the upgrades and all that kind of stuff together, like an actual career mode, basically, with upgrades, R&D points, all that kind of stuff. Or the versus option is where you both start off in separate teams, and you do multiple seasons, and basically you play it like an actual career mode. So maybe you might cross paths in the same team, maybe not. So you can actually be doing a co-op but in different teams fighting against each other, which would be really sick and absolutely insane. It's something that me and Arif did about 3-4 years ago in F1 2017, where I was racing in the Ferrari, or sorry, I think I was in the Ferrari and I was in the Red Bull. So it's really cool. It's a great concept and I really rate this. So the return of co-op is massive. I think it's a big plus, and the fact that it's got all of the features that career mode has, that is awesome, and I cannot wait to see how people kind of integrate that. I'm hoping to maybe do a series on that this year, but we'll see what happens. We've got the new season driver stats. So as you guys know, just like last year, we've got the driver stats, which of course will update as the season goes on, and things will constantly change. And it has been mentioned before in the past, but this year we do have the brand new focus stat on the drivers, which could be quite interesting because unlike the other 4 stats that we have on the cards, this one changes in game, and it's essentially a morale stat. So if a driver's in form, they're going to probably drive better than they normally would. If they're out of form, they're probably going to struggle, which I really like. It's almost like the morale system in FIFA, which I really rate. So big plus there. Really keen to see how that works out. We have confirmation of the Digital Deluxe Edition, and of course if you get this version of the game, if you pre-order this version of the game, you can play it 3 days early on the 13th of July, and of course you're going to get some nice bonuses with it as well. Big fan. Along with that, we've also got the real season start, which is a big one. Me personally, I'm not particularly fussed about this one, But I do remember years ago when I used to play F1 for fun before I was a content creator for F1 games. I always wanted to do the same thing as real life. So for example, this weekend is the French Grand Prix. So as soon as that race would finish, I'd love to hop on and do a 100% race. So with real season start, you can do that with the game. So essentially the weekend of launch of the game, you can actually pick up the season where they are in real life from that very point and do the rest of the year. And you can have your own outcome, which is pretty insane. So big fan of that. We're going to get some nice screenshots as well, it looks like, across all game modes really, in terms of cutscenes and stuff. From what I've seen from the trailer, Will Buxton there in the new HQ, which looks quite reminiscent of the MTC, but kind of its own version of that. Lots of things I'm liking from this, you know, Singapore, which we haven't seen yet, Abu Dhabi as well, Japan. What else are we seeing here? A bit of Paul Ricard action, which we didn't get in the preview build, and we also get our first glimpse of the Ferrari in the preview build. That was the only car that wasn't finalized, so good to see the Ferrari is now done. And in general, things are looking very, very decent, but we're going to move on to some more features. So we now move into my team, and this is of course, as I mentioned before, my kind of area and what I'm looking forward to this year. And it looks like we've got some nice cutscenes and also department events, which is very interesting. So very keen to see how this works, because this is a big thing and something very new. I'm not quite sure how it would work, but I'm guessing if you go to the events, it would help improve morale maybe for those departments, and just in general, the vibe is a lot more positive. So very keen to see how this works out. We've still got the kind of the same areas as last year. I believe we've got a few more sponsors in game, I think, some new ones to kind of freshen things up. And just in general, a lot of things that I really like. Little details, for example, Perez here, yellow boots, nice little detail. But as F1 fans, I know for a fact that we absolutely care about those little details in the game. And things are looking very, very slick. We get a look at the menus, aka streamlined presentation, showing off the braking point. You can see some of the characters in this on this preview screen alone. You can see we've got, I believe, the person in the center is either the mum or the sister of the main character. The one on the right is the father. I believe the one on the left is a driver who's more experienced, coming towards the end of their career and is retiring. You do see him in the cutscene pushing, I believe, your character, or Devin Butler. And then also, I'm not sure who the character at the top of the screen is. I need to find that out. But you get a bit of a preview of the braking point, and then the menus, how they work. Grand Prix, time trial, social play, which is of course the brand new feature for online play this year. Essentially, it's going to help make things be a lot more smoother in terms of how online lobbies work. So those of you that want to sweat the game properly can, and then those of you who want to play if you're just crashing and having a bit of fun, you can as well. So definitely very excited about the social play feature as well. We've got rank play, split screen, which is still in the game as well. A lot of people have been asking for that, and we do still have split screen. We've got the weekly events, the leagues, and all that kind of stuff. And we get a general overview of what the game is going to be. We have the casual and standard settings of play, which we had last year, but now we've got an extra expert setting, which is of course the big thing this year, essentially making things harder than ever. And within that expert setting, I believe for career mode, we have sliders this year. So if you want to make your development rate slower than the AIs, you can. If you want to make it harder for yourself, or if you want to increase the AI's development rate, you can. So there's a list of sliders in this year's game which are going to make things much better for longevity purposes. And for those of us like me who played F1 2020 on maximum difficulty the whole way through, this is going to be a big plus in terms of making things even harder. So big fan of this, very, very excited. And again, confirmation of the split screen and social play, which is a new thing I mentioned about. We get a little glimpse at online multiplayer, all the cars in action with some of these new liveries. Hopefully we'll get a few more new ones at launch. And pretty much that is it for the trailer overview. Now I'm going to talk about a few things that I liked in particular from this little gameplay snippet. So straight off the rip, the gameplay looks a lot better here than it did on my preview build of the game. So that leads me to believe maybe the final version of the game should be a bit more polished. I know there was some issues with ray tracing on the PC version, which we had to turn that off, so maybe that will have a big improvement. Also, performance of the game wasn't great, so I'm hoping that gets ironed out for release, hence why all of this looks a lot smoother and a lot more slick. Now, talking about a few other things, I think face renders this year, they've done a massive improvement on those. Everything looks incredibly realistic and sharp, crisp, well lit up, you know, lots of details, but just in general, the phases this year look insane. You can really notice that kind of next gen horsepower in a way, and I'm a big fan of that. Talk about other things, you know, we get a little glimpse at the press conference room as well, a nice little detail. The fact they've rendered that in, could we see that in my team? Maybe. I'm purely speculating here, but maybe we might get some interviews in this area, which is, you know, like it used to be back in the day, way back on F1 2010. So that would be pretty cool to see. And notice it's F1 2020 because this is based in the 2020 season. So you're still going to have Racing Point, you're still going to have Renault in the game in a way. I wonder if we can race with those cars online. Who knows? I do hope we get to use those 2020 cars along with 2021 and kind of mix up the grid a little bit, especially for online play if we have equal performance. But nonetheless, a few other things just to point out really is detailing. So night circuits look really sweet. Again, I can't tell if this is part CGI render, part, you know, gameplay, but some things are really nice, like the sparks and the way the cars are light up at night, a lot better than the preview build. Again, I'll mention that. And just a bit of a look really at the departments and the way things work this year, you know, with all the different components, engine, chassis, aerodynamics, the marketing departments and all that kind of stuff in my team. There's a lot to take in here. The podium celebrations, everything just looks really crisp, really sharp, and overall I'm a big fan. So having played the preview build, I think I'm going to go through a bit of a summary here. So overall, I think for this year's game, and I'm going to be completely honest here, I'm not saying this because I've got the t-shirt on, because I get the game early, whatever. I'm trying to be honest with you guys. With the idea in mind that F1 is not a simulator, people need to understand that. This is a simcade game, which is half arcade, half simulator. It's definitely way more on the sim side nowadays than arcade, but it's not fully a simulator. So with that in mind, I think F1 this year is very promising. I'm not going to say very exciting or is great, because there were things that I felt like needed adjusting in the preview build. So if those things get fixed, then I will be very excited for the game. But I'm being very cautious here with how I word things to be very transparent. So overall, it's incredible how much they've packed into this year's game. You know, when you look at it as a whole, to kind of overview the whole game, we have the Breaking Point career mode, we have the My Team career mode, we have the 2-player career mode, which is done 2 different ways. So you can do it with a friend, be in the same team, or you can split up and use different teams. You've also got the single player experience, you know, just the regular driver career mode, which is still in the game. You've got multiplayer, of course, with the brand new social play. You've also got the league system still in there. You've got split screen as well. There's so much in this year, and I'm surprised they've packed all of this into the old gen consoles of the PS4 and the Xbox One. So very surprised they've managed to pull that off. But in terms of, you know, PS5 and Xbox Series S or Xbox Series X, I don't even know what it is because I don't have one. It goes to show what next gen consoles give you. They gives you a lot more, you know, capacity to put a lot more into the game and expand. So essentially we could have F2 cars, potentially F1 2020 cars still in the game, and the new 2021 cars as well. So big fan of that. Of course, we've also had it confirmed the tracks that are on the calendar right now in game are not going to be changed. So Spain is going to stay as it always has been, Australia as well. But as post-launch DLC, we're getting Saudi Arabia and we're going to be getting Portugal and Imola. So hopefully those arrive shortly after launch, because I'm very excited about those 3 tracks, especially Imola and Portugal. I very much want to play on those. And in general, this game looks absolutely stacked and I'm very excited. I enjoyed the handling. I'm not sure if they're going to adjust it. For me personally, it was super fun to drive, but the cars were a bit too fast in terms of lap times, so that needs a bit of an adjustment in my opinion. That aside, I think the AI have taken a step forward this year. They're better in battling, especially under blue flags. They were a lot better this year, which is it was a massive issue for me in previous games, and this year they actually get out of the way very well. And then other things I picked up on, of course, the new damage system as well, which is going to completely change things. The fact that we can't use rich or lean mix anymore, we're locked to standard, only using lean under safety car periods. And then of course the new engine temp system, how's that going to affect DRS trains, you know, league racing. there's so much in this game, guys, and I'm very excited, and I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on it. You know, I'm excited to see what the community does, people being creative with it. There's a lot of options on there this year, and also when the esports guys hop on, you know, with their setups and stuff and their knowledge they bring to the game. I'm looking forward to league racing this year myself personally, and there's a lot that is promising about this game, going back to the original word, promising. So hopefully everything delivers, everything goes well. But there you go, there was my rundown of the trailer, all the features in the new game. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, like, subscribe for when F1 2021 eventually drops. I'll be dropping some content hot off the press, hopefully if I'm lucky before release, on my channel, so do get subscribed for that. And yeah guys, I'm very excited now, and we've got literally a month to go. It releases on the 16th of July, so yeah, hopefully you're all excited. But guys, as always, a big shout out to the channel members for supporting my content. I massively appreciate it. And finally, if you haven't done so already, check out these two F1 2021 videos on your screen. But that's it from me here today, and I'll see you next time.